The galactic empire stretched across thousands of star systems. Its fleets patrolled the borders, and its rulers believed no unknown danger could ever enter their space. The aliens of the empire were proud, powerful, and secure. For centuries, their borders had been silent, except for the usual trade ships, mining convoys, and patrol cruisers. But one quiet cycle at the far edge of the Orion Arm, something strange appeared. It started in Border Station K-47, a lonely watchtower orbiting a red dwarf star. The station's scanners were old but reliable. Officer Dreel, a gray-skinned alien with 4 eyes, sat at his console and sipped a cup of bitter root drink. He expected another dull shift. Then a sharp alarm cut through the silence. Dreel's eyes widened. The scanner showed an object entering the system. At first he thought it was a mistake, maybe static from the star's flares. But the signal grew stronger. He checked again and again, but the result was the same. "Unknown ship detected," he whispered. His supervisor, Captain Yorna, strode over. "Show me." On the screen, a small symbol moved across the black void. No origin data, no record. Not even an energy signature the system could understand. The only detail the computer displayed was chilling. Velocity, beyond recorded limits. "That's impossible," Yorna said. "No ship moves that fast." The drive core would collapse, but the object did not collapse. Instead, it accelerated. News spread quickly through the Empire's border defense network. Command stations across the sector received the same strange signal. Admirals debated fiercely. Some believed it was a ghost reading, an error caused by the scanners. Others whispered it might be a secret weapon from a rival empire. Still, protocol was clear. The unknown ship had to be intercepted. Within hours, the Empire sent the first response. A pair of patrol cruisers left hyperspace and moved to intercept the intruder. These ships were sleek silver vessels armed with plasma cannons and shield arrays. They were the pride of the border fleet. "Target locked," one of the cruiser captains reported. "Closing in." But as soon as they tried to surround the intruder, it slipped past them. The ship was small, no larger than a cargo shuttle, yet it danced through space with movements the alien pilots could not follow. It spun, darted, and vanished into a nearby gravity current, only to reappear on the far side of the system. "It's toying with us," the cruiser commander shouted. The 2 warships gave chase, but the intruder was always one step ahead. Their scanners could not penetrate its hull. Their weapons could not lock on. Even their fastest engine bursts failed to catch it. Back at the central command hub, High Admiral Veyron watched the reports in growing anger. "A single small ship is humiliating the fleet? Do you know what this means for the Empire's honor?" His officers bowed nervously. "We are deploying more ships, High Admiral. A full squadron. The intruder cannot escape." Yet even as reinforcements moved, the unknown ship pushed deeper into Imperial space. In a mining colony on a nearby moon, workers stared at the sky as warning sirens rang out, their comms filled with confused chatter. One miner asked, "What kind of ship moves like that?" "It's not ours. It's not anyone's," fear spread. If the Empire could not catch it, maybe it was something worse. Something not bound by the rules of the galaxy. Back at Station K-47, Officer Dreel kept watching the signal. He noticed something others missed. The intruder's movements were not random. They followed patterns as if the pilot was testing, learning, even playing. "This isn't a drone," Dreel whispered. "Someone is flying it." Captain Yorna frowned. "If that is true, then we face a pilot unlike any we've ever seen." Days passed. The chase stretched across 3 star systems. The Empire sent more ships, heavier and faster. Each time, the result was the same. The intruder outmaneuvered them, leaving trails of confusion behind. Finally, the fleet managed to corner it near a dying blue star. Dozens of cruisers and frigates formed a net of energy fields, closing every escape route. Admirals were certain the hunt was over. "Target surrounded," the fleet commander announced proudly. Then, the moment came. The alien fleet activated their energy grid. The space around the unknown ship lit up with power, forming a trap of shifting light. Any ship caught inside should have been immobilized. For a moment, the intruder was still. Silence filled the comms. Admirals leaned forward, waiting for victory. Then the impossible happened. The unknown ship tilted slightly, as if bowing. Its engines flared, brighter than any alien drive core. In a blink, it vanished. The entire fleet gasped as alarm screamed. The intruder had pierced straight through the energy grid at a speed beyond measurement. Ships scrambled, but by the time they recalibrated, the unknown vessel was gone. Only one blurry visual remained, captured by a scout ship. The recording showed a small angular craft, its hull scarred and patched. It was nothing like the elegant silver ships of the Empire. It looked handmade, primitive. Yet it moved like a predator among slow prey. Engineers tried to analyze the image, but the computer returned an unexpected classification. Design, human origin. Unknown species. No data available. High Admiral Varen slammed his fist against the command table. What is this word, human? Our archives hold no such name. No one answered. The fleet was silent, humiliated. A single tiny ship had outrun and outwitted an entire squadron of the Empire's finest. Whispers spread through the Empire. Who were the humans? Where did they come from? How could they build a ship faster than any known design? Some said it was only the beginning. Far from the alien fleet, inside the small ship, a lone human pilot checked his controls. His ship was old, scratched, and tired from the chase. But his eyes were bright with determination. He looked at the stars ahead and whispered to himself, "So this is their empire. They think they've seen everything. They haven't seen us yet." His ship vanished once more into the endless dark, leaving the mighty empire shaken to its core. The Galactic Empire had not been shaken like this for centuries. Fleets that once crushed rebellions and kept rivals silent now whispered about a single intruder. The name human was spoken across stations and war councils. It was a word no one had ever heard before. Yet now it echoed like thunder. The High Council of Admirals gathered in the capital system of Thalor Prime. Their chamber was a vast hall with silver walls that shimmered like water. Dozens of alien leaders sat around a circular table. Their faces were stern, their voices sharp. High Admiral Varen stood at the center. His crest rose high on his head, a sign of authority among his species. "The unknown ship must be captured," he said firmly. "If we fail again, the Empire will be seen as weak." Already whispers spread among our rivals. They think we cannot control our own borders. Another admiral leaned forward. "We cannot capture what we cannot understand. Our scanners give no readings. Its power source is hidden. Its flight path is unpredictable. This is not technology, it is trickery." But the Council knew one truth: the intruder was not leaving. It moved deeper into Imperial space, stopping at quiet systems as if it was studying them. Some thought it searched for resources. Others feared it was mapping their defenses. Orders were given. Elite squadrons were dispatched. Spy satellites were launched. And yet every time the strange ship escaped. In one encounter near the twin suns of Velkar, a heavy battlecruiser tried to corner it. The intruder suddenly vanished from scanners. Confused, the cruiser slowed, searching. Then, without warning, the small ship reappeared behind it, almost brushing against its hull before speeding away. The alien crew panicked. "It knows where we cannot see." One shouted, "How could a small vessel outwit them so easily?" At Station K-47, Officer Drill could not rest. He studied every fragment of data, every blurred image, every broken signal. Slowly, he began to notice details. "The movements," Drill said to Captain Yorna. "They are not random. It is learning. Every time our ships respond, it changes. Every time we build a trap, it finds a new path." Captain Yorna frowned. "So the pilot studies us as we study him." "Yes," Drill said quietly. "And I think he is enjoying it." The mystery grew deeper when the intruder sent out its first signal. It was caught by a relay station orbiting a gas giant. At first, the message was static, a string of strange sounds, but when the computers tried to decode it, patterns appeared. The language was unlike any in the archives, simple yet structured. The message repeated, "This is Test Flight Vessel Horizon. Pilot reporting safe. Coordinates unknown. Can anyone hear me?" The words were strange, but the meaning was clear. A pilot. A human. The station transmitted the recording to the High Council. For a long moment, silence filled the chamber as the voice played again and again. It was calm, steady, and completely alien. "That is no machine," Admiral Varen admitted. "That is a person. Translation units work day and night." Slowly, they began to break down the strange language. The human pilot sent more short transmissions. Sometimes he spoke about his ship. Sometimes he muttered numbers, likely testing his instruments. Other times he simply spoke to himself, unaware he was being heard. The council was shocked. The words revealed simple truths. This Earth was not a known world. Its people had no place in the galactic archives. It was as if a hidden race had suddenly appeared with technology beyond reason. "This is impossible," one admiral argued. "All known species are recorded. The archives have been complete for thousands of years. There is no such place as Earth." Yet the voice of the human proved otherwise. Meanwhile, the pilot himself grew bolder. He began broadcasting on wider bands. His voice carried through the stars, picked up by both military and civilian stations. "This is Captain Elias Gray, test pilot of the Horizon. I request contact. I mean no harm." Across the Empire, aliens stopped and listened. They had never heard a voice like his before. Rough, warm, filled with determination. Miners in the asteroid belts whispered, "He sounds young." Traders in deep space said, "If this is a scout, what will happen when more come?" And soldiers asked, "If one ship moves like this, what kind of fleet do they have?" Fear mixed with curiosity. The Empire had always seen itself as the center of power. Now it faced something new, something it could not explain. High Admiral Veyron ordered a trap at the border of the Trion Nebula. 50 ships hid within the mist, their engines cold to avoid detection. When the intruder appeared, they closed in from all sides. The human pilot's voice came again, clear and steady. "You think you have me. You don't." Then, with sudden brilliance, the small ship weaved through the nebula's gas clouds, using currents the alien ships avoided. Their sensors could not track him in the storm. But somehow his ship slipped through as if the nebula was a map only he could read. When the mist cleared, the entire fleet was scattered, while the Horizon sailed calmly beyond their reach. The humiliation was complete. At Station K-47, Officer Drayle shook his head. "This is not only about technology. No machine does this. This is about the mind behind the controls. Whoever this human is, he is more dangerous than the ship itself." Captain Yorna studied the recordings. Perhaps dangerous, or perhaps brilliant. I cannot decide. But not everyone in the Empire wanted him destroyed. Some younger officers felt a strange respect. A pilot alone, surrounded by enemies, yet fearless. They saw courage where others saw threat. One such officer, Commander Thalen, spoke carefully during the council meeting. "High Admiral, this human has not fired on us. He does not attack. He runs, he escapes, but he does not strike. Maybe he is not our enemy." Veyron scowled. "He humiliates us. That is enough." Thalen did not argue, but in his heart he wondered. As days turned to weeks, the legend grew. Civilians began to call the intruder the Phantom. Merchants told stories of a ship that outran the Empire's fastest interceptors. Children played games pretending to be the mysterious human pilot. The High Council grew restless. They could not allow this story to spread. If one man could make the Empire look weak, what would stop others from trying? And yet, no matter how hard they tried, the intruder remained free. One night, as Officer Drayle watched the scanners, a new message came through. It was not broadcast wide this time. It came directly to the military channel, encrypted in a way even the Empire's machines struggled to read. The message was short. "If you think speed is all I have, you don't understand humans yet." Drayle's eyes went wide. The human had spoken directly to them. He turned to Captain Yorna. "He knows we are listening." Yorna's voice was tight. "Then he also knows he has our full attention." And so the Empire stood on edge. Their fleets hunted, their leaders debated, their people whispered. Somewhere in the dark, a single small ship drifted among the stars, its pilot watching, learning, and waiting. The secret was no longer the ship. The secret was the species behind it, humans. And the Empire had only just begun to understand what that word would mean. The word human was now spoken across the Empire like a spark running through dry grass. Soldiers whispered it on patrol. Merchants muttered it over trade tables, and citizens in the core worlds repeated it as a new rumor. One pilot, one ship, and yet he had unsettled the greatest empire in the galaxy. In the Grand Capital, the High Council met again. The chamber was heavy with silence as Admiral Veyron played the human's voice. It filled the hall, rough yet steady. "This is Captain Elias Gray, test pilot of the Horizon. I request contact. I mean no harm." The words played again, then faded. The admirals exchanged glances. One tapped the table with a clawed finger. "It sounds too calm, too confident. If he truly were lost, he would beg, not declare." Another replied, "Perhaps humans do not beg. Perhaps this is how they speak." High Admiral Veyron raised his crest, showing impatience. Whatever this human is, he has mocked us long enough. He must be captured, questioned, and his secrets torn open. We cannot allow our rivals to see weakness, but not all agreed. Commander Thalen, younger than the others, leaned forward. High Admiral, with respect, he has not fired a weapon. He has not destroyed our ships. He avoids, he escapes, but he does not kill. Does that not say something about him? Veyron's eyes narrowed. It says he is clever. And it says he waits for the right moment. The council ended with no unity. Some wanted him destroyed. Others wanted him captured, and a few, like Thalen, began to wonder if the Empire was seeing the start of something larger than fear. Meanwhile, Elias Gray drifted inside his ship, the Horizon. His hands moved across the control panels, adjusting small switches, checking fuel levels and running tests on the experimental drive. The ship was scratched and battered from constant stress, but still holding. He leaned back in the pilot seat and muttered, "Well, Elias, you wanted to test the Horizon. Looks like you've given the galaxy a show." Through the cockpit glass, stars burned like cold fire. He had entered this part of space by accident, or so it seemed. The Horizon's drive had worked too well, throwing him farther than any human had traveled. Now, instead of finding silence, he found an Empire staring at him with suspicion and fear. And he knew one thing. He could not go home yet. The first true attempt at contact came days later. The Empire sent not warships, but envoys. 5 sleek diplomatic cruisers glided into a neutral system near a quiet yellow star. They sent out signals, carefully translated into the human strange language. Unknown pilot. We request dialogue. Approach without weapons active. We will not harm you. For long minutes there was no answer. The diplomats grew nervous. Then a voice crackled over the channel. Elias's voice, calm as ever. Dialogue? After sending 50 ships after me. That's new. The alien envoy stiffened. The translator repeated his words across their headsets. One envoy tried to sound firm. You violated our borders. We seek to know your purpose, Elias chuckled softly. Violated? I was testing a ship drive. I didn't even know you existed until your fleets tried to box me in. If you're going to blame me for curiosity, you might as well blame the stars for shining. The aliens were unsettled. No one spoke to the Empire in such a way. Finally, the lead envoy asked, "Where is your origin? What is Earth?" There was a pause. Elias's tone softened. Earth is my home. A small planet with oceans and mountains, storms and deserts. You won't find it in your maps. Maybe you'll never find it at all. But it is real, and it made me what I am. The envoys exchanged nervous glances. If Earth truly existed, then a whole new species lay hidden beyond the stars. But the meeting ended without agreement. Elias refused to reveal his location or his technology. The envoys returned to the Empire with more questions than answers. Back in the capital, Admiral Veyron slammed the table. He toys with us. He knows more than he tells. And worst of all, he makes us appear small, others murmured. But he spoke of peace. He has not attacked. Peace? Veyron spat. Peace is a mask. He hides a blade behind it. Commander Thalen spoke carefully. Or perhaps peace is all he brings. We cannot be certain until we listen more. But Veyron's command was law. More fleets were sent. The next encounter was not diplomatic. A full squadron of interceptors cornered Elias near a ringed planet. They demanded surrender. Elias's voice came over the channel. If you want to talk, I'll talk. If you want to fight, I'll make you regret it. The alien commander ordered weapons ready. But before a single shot was fired, Elias moved. His ship darted between the rings of the planet, using debris and shadows to hide. The interceptors pursued, but the Horizon slipped through cracks and gaps no larger than itself. One interceptor tried to follow and was damaged by rocks. Another spun out of control. Through it all, Elias never fired a weapon. He escaped, but left the Empire embarrassed once again. In civilian spaceports, stories grew larger. Some called him a phantom who could walk through walls. Others said he could read enemy minds. Children played with toy ships painted in strange human colors. The Empire wanted silence, but the people wanted stories. At Station K-47, Officer Drayle studied the recordings late at night. Is Captain Yorna approached? You watch him again? She asked. Yes, Drayle said. Every move, every word. He is not only a pilot. He is a message. The galaxy has grown old, Captain. The Empire believes nothing new can surprise it. But now, here he is, a human. Yorna nodded slowly. And what do you feel when you hear his voice? Drayle answered without hesitation. Hope and fear. Elias too felt the tension. Inside his ship, he listened to intercepted transmissions. He heard the fear in the Empire's voices. He heard the anger of admirals, the curiosity of civilians. He whispered to himself, "They think I'm just fast. They don't see what makes us human." For a moment he thought of Earth. The crowded cities, the wars fought, the disasters survived. Humanity had always been underestimated, even by itself. Yet here he was, alone against an empire and still unbroken. The High Council's patience snapped. Admiral Veyron gathered his forces. This time no more diplomacy. The order was clear. Trap the human, no matter the cost. An entire fleet moved to intercept Elias in the Helion sector. Hundreds of ships filled the void, forming a cage of metal and light. The horizon slowed as it approached. Elias's voice came again, strong and calm. "You think numbers win wars. You think power keeps you safe. You've forgotten the one thing that makes survival possible: imagination." The aliens froze at the words. He was not afraid. He was warning them. The fleet tightened its net. The horizon hovered in the center, small and fragile against the wall of ships. And then, Elias said quietly, "If you think speed is all I have, you don't understand humans yet." The stars seemed to hold their breath. The Helion sector was quiet for centuries. Dust clouds floated lazily between stars, and distant suns painted the void in faint gold and blue. Yet now the sector had become a battlefield, not of destruction, but of wits. The horizon, Elias Gray's ship, hovered near a small, rocky moon. Hundreds of Empire ships surrounded him in a near-perfect grid. Every interceptor, cruiser, and frigate formed a wall of steel and energy, ready to trap him. High Admiral Veyron watched from the command bridge of the flagship, eyes sharp as a hawk. "This time," he muttered, "we will end it." He was wrong. Inside the horizon, Elias ran his hands over the controls, feeling every vibration, every hum of the ship. His mind moved faster than any computer in the Empire. He was small, yes, but speed alone was not his only advantage. Creativity, instinct, and courage made him dangerous. He studied the fleet. Their formation was tight but predictable. Every ship followed protocol, every movement designed for efficiency. And therein lay their weakness, Elias whispered. Time to show them humans are more than machines. He activated a minor modification in the drive, an experimental burst that would give the horizon a sudden, unpredictable jump. The ship disappeared from the center of the fleet. Alarms screamed across the Empire channels. The flagship's sensors blinked. Impossible! He's inside the formation. Elias didn't attack. Instead, he weaved between ships, slipping through gaps too small for alien crafts to enter. A light trail flashed as he moved, then vanished. The fleet scrambled, adjusting their formation, but every move he anticipated. On one cruiser, Captain Malira swore under her breath, "How does a single ship outmaneuver a squadron like this? He knows our every move." "It's not just the ship," her lieutenant replied. "It's the pilot. He sees patterns, predicts us, thinks like no one in the Empire." Meanwhile, Elias was already preparing his next maneuver. He used the moon's gravity to slingshot through the fleet, causing several frigates to collide with debris. Small explosions lit the dark like fleeting stars. High Admiral Veyron's crest rose in anger. "Concentrate fire! Target his engines." But it was too late. The Horizon's engines flared again, a sudden burst of power that no Empire vessel could follow. It disappeared only to reappear at the far edge of the sector, calm and untouchable. The aliens were stunned. A single ship alone defeating a fleet. "This is impossible," a junior admiral said. "It is not impossible," Thalen replied softly. "It is human." The fleet tried a new tactic. They set energy traps, hoping the Horizon would run into fields that disabled drives. But Elias anticipated them. He slowed deliberately, appearing vulnerable. Then, at the last moment, he shifted direction, using a narrow asteroid field to hide his escape. One interceptor tried to follow. The pilot misjudged a turn and slammed into a large asteroid, instantly destroyed. From the flagship, sensors tracked the Horizon. The small ship darted, jumped, and vanished in ways the aliens could not predict. It was more than speed. It was imagination, daring, and instinct all at once. Elias knew he could not fight them directly. His ship was too small to withstand heavy weapons. Instead, he used trickery. He powered down engines, letting himself appear trapped near a small planetoid. Sensors on the flagship tracked him, confident he had no escape. Then the Horizon's communication system broadcasted a single message. "If you want me, come get me. But be careful. You might not like what you find." The High Council was furious. "He mocks us," Admiral Veyron shouted. "Send boarding teams." A team of small boarding craft launched, designed to dock with the Horizon and capture the pilot. But Elias was ready. The moment the first craft approached, he activated a minor gravity pulse from his ship, spinning the boarding pods like toys in the void. They collided with each other in the planetoid, leaving only one pod intact. Elias didn't fire a weapon. He simply used physics, strategy, and creativity. As the sun rose over the sector, the Empire realized a painful truth. Human ingenuity could not be measured by sensors or weapons. One small pilot, using intelligence and courage, had outsmarted hundreds of trained officers in advanced technology. High Admiral Veyron slammed his claw on the table. "This is not a ship. This is a weapon we cannot comprehend, and he is only one." Thalen spoke softly, almost to himself. "Not a weapon. A human, and humans, they survive where others fail." In the Horizon, Elias paused for a moment. He reflected on the chase, the Empire's strength, and their fear. His voice came over the internal speakers. "They are proud. They think speed and numbers win. They forget creativity, courage, and willpower. That is what humans have always had, and that is what makes us dangerous." The ship's systems hummed, a quiet symphony of engines and controls. Elias had no desire for conquest. He had not fired a shot. His mission was simple: survive, learn, and if possible, show the Empire something they had forgotten: the strength of the human spirit. The Empire did not give up. More ships arrived, larger and faster than before. Cruisers, battle frigates, even orbital bombardment units joined the hunt. Yet every tactic failed. Energy nets, sensor sweeps, hyperspace traps, all were outsmarted by one pilot. The aliens began to speak openly about him. "He is not just fast," one admiral admitted. "He thinks differently. He predicts us. He adapts," a young officer whispered to her companion. "It is like he knows the future." And in a way, he did, not by prophecy but by observation, instinct, and understanding patterns no machine could replicate. Finally, the Horizon approached the Empire's largest forward station. It was a test, a challenge, and a message. Elias knew he could not defeat them forever with only speed, but he also knew he could survive, outwit, and leave them questioning their assumptions. He powered the ship down partially, floating calmly near the station. Then he broadcasted one final message: "I have tested your fleets. I have seen your strategies. I am only one human. Imagine what others like me could do. Do not attack. Do not underestimate. If you do, you will learn a lesson the galaxy has not yet seen." The station's sensors blinked. High Admiral Veyron's face went pale. For the first time, he felt the weight of fear, not of death, but of the unknown. Commander Thalen leaned forward. "This is not just a pilot," he said quietly. "This is the beginning of something larger. He is showing us who humans really are." The Horizon activated its experimental drive one last time and disappeared into hyperspace. The Empire was left stunned, humiliated, and thinking. No weapons had fired. No blood had been shed. Yet one small human ship had defeated hundreds of ships, outsmarted the best minds, and challenged the arrogance of an empire. And somewhere, Elias Gray smiled quietly to himself. He had survived, yes, but he had also sent a message. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, unpredictable, and bold, and the Empire would never forget it. The Empire had never felt so small. Hundreds of ships had failed to capture a single human pilot. Weeks had passed, and the Horizon remained uncatchable, a ghost in the stars. In the High Council chamber, silence hung heavier than ever. High Admiral Veyron's claws tapped the table in frustration. "We have the largest fleets in the galaxy," he growled, "and we cannot stop one ship." "How is this possible?" Commander Thalen rose quietly, his voice calm but strong. "High Admiral, it is not the ship. It is the human. We underestimated him, and perhaps underestimated the species he represents." Veyron stared at him. "The species? One pilot does not a species make. Do you think all humans will move like this?" Thalen's eyes did not waver. "Perhaps not, but one human has shown creativity, courage, and resilience the Empire has never seen. That is proof enough. They survive where others fail. And survival, High Admiral, that is power. Far from the Empire's capital, Elias Gray floated in the horizon, observing the stars. He had traveled farther than any human before him, and yet he felt no fear, only determination. He glanced at the readings from the Empire's fleets, now scattered and confused. They were not angry anymore. They were thinking. And that was exactly what he wanted. Humans are clever, he said softly. We adapt, we survive, and we never give up. That is what makes us strong. The first true dialogue came weeks later. The Empire sent a single envoy ship, smaller and unarmed. It approached the horizon cautiously, lights dimmed, engines silent. A calm voice came over the channel. Unknown pilot. We wish to understand. Will you meet us? Elias considered the request. He could have ignored it. He could have vanished forever. But he saw an opportunity. I will meet, he replied, but on my terms. The envoy vessel adjusted course. The human pilot guided them to a neutral asteroid field. It was safe, controlled, and allowed him to manage the situation. When the ships met, sensors confirmed something impossible. A human stood inside the horizon, completely unarmed. His face was calm, eyes bright, full of curiosity. The envoy's commander spoke first. Captain Gray, we come in peace. We wish to understand why you entered our space and how your technology is possible. Elias nodded. I came by accident, he said simply. The horizon's drive overshot my destination. I did not know your empire existed until I was already here. And as for technology, it is human ingenuity. We build what we need, we adapt, and we do not fear trying new ideas. The commander's sensors recorded everything. Your species. You are unknown to the galaxy. Yet one human has outsmarted fleets, survived impossible traps, and shown courage we have not seen. Explain this. Elias smiled faintly.
Humans survive because we face challenges every day.
We build, destroy, learn, and try again. We are small in the universe, yes, but our minds are larger than we seem. One ship can be fast, but our strength is in the way we think and act together. Back in the Empire, the High Council received recordings of the meeting. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some were skeptical. Some were curious. And some were afraid. High Admiral Veyran stood, his crest drooping. He is correct. One human has made us look weak. We must learn what this species is capable of before others arrive. Thalen nodded. And perhaps we should not seek to destroy them. Perhaps we should observe, understand, and even cooperate. Humans may become allies, or at least neighbors, but to ignore them is dangerous. The council fell silent, each member contemplating a future they had never imagined. In the asteroid field, Elias looked at the envoy ship. I do not want war. I only want to show that humans exist and we are not to be underestimated. That is all. The commander of the envoy ship recorded his words. You have made your point. The Empire will not attack for now, but your presence will change everything. The galaxy will remember this day. Elias nodded. He activated the Horizon's drive and prepared to leave. One day, he said softly, you will see more of us. And when that day comes, you will understand that humans are not just fast or clever, they are persistent. And we never give up. As the Horizon disappeared into hyperspace, the legend began. Across the Empire, ships reported sightings of a single fast human ship, always escaping, always testing, always surviving. Children told stories of the ghost of the stars, a pilot who could not be caught. Scientists and engineers speculated on the technology, but the truth was something simpler: human creativity and courage. Admirals debated endlessly. Some called him a threat, some called him a wonder, but all agreed on one point: the Empire had learned a lesson. No matter how strong, no matter how large, arrogance could be defeated by intelligence, courage, and unpredictability. On Earth, far across the galaxy, no one knew yet of the Horizon's journey. Yet somewhere Elias Gray smiled at the stars. He had proven more than speed, more than skill. He had proven the spirit of humanity. He thought of the first humans who sailed oceans, who explored deserts, who climbed mountains. They survived disasters, adapted, and continued forward. That was humanity. Never defeated, always searching, always reaching for the unknown. This is only the beginning, he whispered. Months later, fleets of the Empire adjusted their protocols. They studied unpredictability, creativity, and strategy in new ways. Human tactics were no longer theoretical. They were a model for thinking outside rigid rules. In diplomatic centers, the word human carried respect. The species was no longer unknown. A single pilot had changed the perception of an entire empire, and the galaxy had learned something that would echo for centuries. Strength is not only in size, numbers, or power. Strength is in intelligence, courage, imagination, and the will to survive. Elias Gray and the horizon became the first symbol of that truth. The empire might have been shaken, humiliated, and forced to rethink everything, but one thing was clear. Humans had arrived. And when humans arrived, the galaxy would never be the same.